recording. As I was saying before, okay, I said this meeting is being live streamed. Okay, if you click OK, you will automatically join us. If you don't click OK, you may end up being left out of the session. So please just try and click OK for the sake of the stream. So it's actually aimed towards help others. I started though. Please, engage in blessing. Mute your mic. Great. So the essence of keeping it recorded is so that in case you happen to be, let's say, overly busy or network challenges was not making the session interesting for you, you can always come back, follow it passively, and then you'll still be able to have a full grasp of everything that you missed. Just as I was saying before, interview is basically an avenue for you to tell the examiner what they want to hear in relation to your skills, your attributes. So basically, most interviewers don't know you. They have a template of what they are expecting. They have a guide. If you are setting out an interview for any individual, you have more like this is what you are expecting the individual to bring to your table. So if you do your personal research, you do your due diligence, you will have a little bit of an idea of what the recruiter is looking for. So if you can have a glimpse of what the recruiter is looking for, your chances of success in that interview is most likely going to be very, very high as compared to an individual who is novice in this whole journey. Now, with that being said, before we go any further, I want to let us know that before you start your interview, there are some things you need to put in place. We have been seeing this and this in our previous interview sessions. We'll let you know that, oh, you need to put your background in place. You need to avoid noise-free background. You need to know the app that you are supposed to use for the interview. And you need to at least experiment about the app to know the pros and cons of the app, and so on and so forth. Those things have not changed. So I'll just do a little bit of a quick rundown. Now, for many of you now, you can see that many of you don't have a picture on your Zoom. That is why you are seeing darkness, because you've turned your video off. Everything I'm seeing now is dark, 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 dark. The only people that have like a picture on their Zoom now is Lucy and Omini. So they have L and K. That's their Zoom picture. But professionally or ideally, you should have a pictorial representation of yourself. Could be one smart professional picture that really give a little bit of a glimpse about your personality. So when somebody sees it, it sends a message. And secondly, you must learn to work on your app very well. Now I can see some of you now, you doing your Zoom link is called iPhone. Some of you is Infinix. Some of you is Omini. Some is just Faith. So that's not professional enough. That's where the whole thing starts from. Now, most times we think that the interviewers knows our name, our details, so we don't necessarily need to be imposing. Most times when we are called for interview, you will notice that you are joining that interview session for the very first time. Many persons may not have your details. They are just bringing you on board and say, oh, the next person you're having is Otagbe. He's going to be the one anchoring this interview session. Let's have him on board. Then you will just be there about to give your own interview speech or give your own response to their questions. Now, merely putting your name as Esther Chinoso sends a message that, okay, this is this person. So when you are performing well, the interviewer can jot a message against your name. The interviewer can jot a message against your name. So if you are here tonight, you know how to adjust your name on your Zoom. Please take your time and adjust your name accordingly. before your interview. Now, most of your interview may not be holding on Zoom because subscribing to Zoom yearly package is quite expensive. So most trusts usually subscribe for Microsoft Teams because it's cheaper. So if it's Microsoft Teams you are going to use for your interview, you need to what? You need to experiment with it. You need to practice with it. Okay, how does it mean? What does it mean by raise your hand up? What does it mean by do this? How do you share your screen on Microsoft Teams? And so on and so forth. You won't be that person that say that I am used to basic technological skills. And then the interviewer will now say, okay, hello, please, can you kindly share your screen? I want you to show me your passport. Share me your screen. Then you will now be saying, eh, you say, but you said just now that you are used to basic technological screen. But now to share screen is a difficulty. So you see what I'm talking about. So please adjust your name properly and don't go and let your name be before you use anybody's Zoom link or anybody's Microsoft team. Know the name they are using because most times some persons have some funny name on their Zoom accounts. There are some they are always almost sexy. There are some they are different funny names that can damp your reputation. For an average UK person, they may not react. They may see all those things. It will be funny to them. Now, as I always say, most now what you observe nowadays in most hospital, you will see that um, diaspora nurses have infiltrated every angle. Now you think of it. Let's assume it's one Indian that is the ward manager of the unit you want to work. They brought her to come and interview you. Say we have a couple of persons from that are going to be holding interview with us today, and then when they now bring you on board, they are seeing your name is almost sexy. You know, think of it now. Think of it. They not all sexy lazy. So they will not be thinking, oh, okay, this one is not professional. But no matter what you say in that interview session, wetin you no know about don already dey kill your reputation. So you will not do extra to prove yourself. It's all about it's something like all this racism. When you come in as a black in some places, you will not need to do extra to prove that you are really fully qualified for that role. What you could have just gotten on a platter. You understand? So wisdom is profitable or to guide. So please take note of that. Adjust your name appropriately and let it match what you are going to be. Let it match your identity. So that's basically it on that. Now, the next one is the aspect of the background and the noises. Please, I appeal to you. Noise is a distractor. You have already, interview is very hard to find now. Now, the reason is not far-fetched. Most times, the UK government, they are not released budget for 2024. Only the budget of 2023 is still ongoing at the moment. So there are rumors that NHS sponsorship may not necessarily continue, but we're also getting update that it will continue. They are just trying to sort out their budget for the year. Now, if they release the budget, we'll be able to know, okay, how much is budgeted to NHS and is there a pause for the international nurses to still come into the country. So what most trusts are doing now is they are using their internal reserve to help in sponsoring people. So it is this their internal reserve that they are using to sponsor people. That's why it now seems as if, oh, many trusts will give you interview. They will tell you, sponsor yourself to come over before we can reimburse you because they are trying to be very calculative. So there are even some they will tell you, oh, I'm not going to sponsor you. That's why you see now many persons are taking the bull by the horn. They are not going for this self-sponsorship. The red list is another thing. You understand? Before the red list, people will be traveling. That's one thing people don't know. Before I even go to the UK, red list has been on for the past 5 years. So it's not something that just came on board. But there is increased competition now. Everybody knows about the UK pathway. Everybody knows about the US pathway. Almost 30% of nurses have passed their IELTS. So it's so easy for the competition to be so great. If they release an advert that usually only 100 persons will apply for, now 10K persons will be applying for one post, and they need what? They only need maybe 20 persons to come into the trust. Now you imagine, no matter how good you are, you have to prove yourself extra. So those are some of the challenges you should be aware of. Now, keep your noise background very low. Let everything be calm, and then you also ensure that the background on that you are using for your Zoom is something that is not distracting. If you can see my background now, you see how it is. I believe you are seeing me. If I want to change it, I changed it before to this. This is our house in UK here. So you can see me, I'm on the background. This is very distracting. You don't need something like this. So this is a normal background. This is my house now. You can see I'm just in the parlor when I'm making this whole session. I can change it to different background. But the one that I feel would be less distracting, because with this one now, somebody may be passing through my back now. Some things are happening on my background. You just be seeing everything, and that can be a distraction. So that's why I decided to blur it. You understand? So all these things are what you can learn with your Zoom, with your WhatsApp, sorry, with your Zoom, with your team. I am not going to start explaining this now. So you can just do your due diligence, learn about it. If you know you don't know about how to change background, no wahala. Provided you have a plain background and the background there's no distraction that can alter your interview process, no wahala at all. And now, with that being said, I want to also quickly say that once you have begin your interview, you have now ruled out the distraction, you have told your neighbor that you are going to be having interview, everything is set. You should be able to anticipate what to expect for your interview. Now, gone are those days when you receive an interview from a trust, they will tell you that, oh, Nottingham NHS Trust is scheduling an interview with you. You will just go and balance and say, I have interview with Nottingham. God help me, oh, God help me, make I smash am. God help me, oh. Yeah, God will help you. But you also need to do your own due diligence. And what is the due diligence you are supposed to do? You need to know what role have they shortlisted you for. Because general nursing entails so many aspects. Like if you are being shortlisted for a mental health nurse, I know, okay, you anticipate mental health questions. If it's midwifery, anticipate midwifery questions. If it's general nursing, there are surgical area, there is medical area. Even in medical surgical, there is also A&E. You are getting it now. There's theater. There are some of those salient things. So if you know where you are being shortlisted for interview, you have actually solved 20% of the problem. You will now know where to direct your attention. Like for us now, when we recruit, recently we're recruiting for nurse assessor role. When we recruit, we put a little bit of a job description. We are interested in people who are passionate about solving people's problems, who wants to help other persons genuinely, who want to do this, who want to do that. Now, when our HR go for the interview, what they are concerned about is they are concerned about those people who have those elements. So no matter how good you are, if they are indirectly trying to ascertain whether you have those elements, you don't have it, it means that you are more like a monkey who is able to run around on land but cannot swim in the sea. Not that you are not good, though. You cannot say that a monkey is not good in climbing tree. But when you bring him to the sea, cannot do anything. So that's why I said from the onset, interview is what? Telling the examiner what they want to hear. And how can you tell the examiner what they want to hear when in the first place you do not even know what is expected of you? So you must know what is expected of you, and what is expected of you to be able to demonstrate that this is the criteria we want. You really fit into this criteria. So that brings me to what? the job description, personal specification, essential criteria, desire criteria. They are all there on your interview PDF. They sent everything to you. Now, some of you will be thinking, oh, I don't want to share past question. If I share my past question, uh, people will know about this is how it's done, and that is cheating. African mentality. Where the past question there is a public domain. The Telegram group there is a public domain. Anybody can join. You can see in that Telegram group, there are so many persons there. Count the number, you see that there are so many persons there. If you put the number of persons in a room, everywhere will be filled up. Now, the major concern is employer don't want to bring shambori into their trust. They want people that knows what they want. An individual that knows what they want always ask question, what is in for me? You say you want to work in a particular trust. This is not Nigeria or Ghana, where they will just release advert, say UUTH is advertising for nurses role. Everybody will just trip in to apply. It's the same application you are just using to apply, but nothing about the job description, personal specification. You don't know what to expect. You are just going for the interview blindly. No, they have given you every clue that you need to be able to excel on the interview. If they don't need you to know all those things, they won't have brought it on board. So why are you not using it to your best of knowledge? Why are you not using it to your best of ability? They tell you that this is the personal specification for the job that is being advertised. You are having interview tomorrow. You have not even read the personal specification, but you are you are on 9VG praying that God will just do wonders. But you can release God from that big work by simply doing the needful. And what is the needful? You simply what? You study those things. Carry your pen and biro. Some of you, you act too smart. You don't act too smart when it comes to job vacancy. Interview is very hard nowadays. I can bet you. Our people that are applying for job, yes, we are getting interview. It's no guarantee that everybody will just apply job for all of them will just get interview. No, some of you have joined us because you use our job application services, but it does you know that it was not guaranteed that as you just apply, you just got the interview. No, because the competition is great. So the one you have now, you want to make the best use of it. So it is very, very important to us. Now you will now settle down a day to your interview or a few days to your interview, you look at those PDFs that was sent to your Gmail, go straight to track, download those PDFs, or go straight to where you submitted the application. Personal specification for this role, surgical nurse, they are looking for somebody who has a good communication skill. You tick it. Okay, write it out somewhere. Desire skill, good communication. Okay, they are looking for somebody um, who can work independently, somebody who can do this, somebody who can do that. They now write those one out. Now, by the time they now say, uh, hello, my name is Justina Vitri. I am the nurse that is going to be in charge of your interview today. Here with me is Vitor San. He's the general manager from so and so ward. It's one of the ward that needs some nurses. And here with me is Vitri Jacob. He's also joining us for this interview. We want it to be relaxed. We just want to get to know you, and then we can see if you meet what we are looking for as a trust. So can you tell us about yourself? By the time they say, can you tell us about yourself? And you not go with, okay, my name is Otegwe. He is a graduate of Odo and So University. Upon my graduation, I proceeded to this and this. Currently, I'm working in this and this hospital where I'm able to do this. Then you will not bring those skills that you have read somewhere that they are looking for. You now say, I am innovative. I'm a good communicator. I know the importance of communication in a healthcare facility, and as such, I prioritize it very well when dealing with my patient. I know that interpersonal relationship is essential to patient well-being, and as such, I take it as a point of, I made it as a point of duty to be able to relate not with just with the patient or my fellow nurses, but also with the multidisciplinary team, just to promote the health and well-being of my patient. When you go like this, you are already giving a first impression to the interviewer that, man, so this person has what we are looking for. Did we not say that we are looking for somebody who can communicate? Did we not say we're looking for somebody with interpersonal skills? Did we not say we are looking for somebody who has a leadership skills? Okay, he has it. Oh, now to be a wise man, you will not just copy and paste. So if they say they are looking for leadership skill, good communicator, they are looking for this thing, you will not just bring those things and say those are the skills you have. It will look as if you are a garbage in and garbage out robot. What you will not do that will make you unique will not be that now you know they are looking for a person with interpersonal skills, a good communicator. You will not go and look for some good things that they are not looking for, but you also have it. You will not mix everything up so that it won't look as if you are just copying and telling them what they want to hear. You are now doing something like, okay, I'm a good communicator, I have interpersonal skills, I am a good collaborator. They were not looking for a person with good collaboration skills. You understand? So by the time you do it like this, you will not see that from the very first start, you have already grasped their attention. So that is very important. So if you are here tonight and you are here to go and know about your job description first, your personal specification, and so on and so forth, please, I beg you, go and do that. It will really help you. And for those of you who are joining this session, I told you before, write the date of your interview on the chat box, because while we are doing this, we don't want people to come to the session when we are not asking questions. It will look as if we are wasting our time. So you must be able to participate, because it's one thing for you to say I am good. I am good. It's another thing for you to verbalize your good. It's not when they not give you mic to speak, you will not be timid. So here we are here for you to make all the mistake. You are here for you to make all the errors. All of us will correct each other. We'll give you our opinion, tell you what you could have done better, and other persons can also assess you. Make all the mistake in this pre-interview preparation so that on your own interview day, you will what? Smash it. Now, I've done the preliminary talk. The main interview interaction will be basically for the members. So we want to have this environment of, okay, I can do this. Now, one question that we always cut across board is, tell me about yourself. If you have watched our previous interview videos, I will always encourage you, go and watch our previous interview videos, because by you watching it, you get exposed to other people's opinion in approaching a similar question. Basically, the world nowadays, there's nothing like a fresh idea. Only it's only maybe say 1% of the idea you see today they are fresh. Every idea you see, they have already been existent. People are only refining it. So by you listening to what other people have done in the past in our interview session, it gives you a guide and a glimpse of, okay, this was how this person approached this question. I can do this. I can just do this, and you have the option of, you play it forward, you play it backward. And social media has really make life really, really very, very easy for us. So please, let's do that. And once again, when you finish your whole interview, your date and time is already on the group now. So when you finish your whole interview based on your date and time, just post your questions and say, this is my experience, the name of the trust, the date I had the interview, the questions I can remember. You write everything out. We can share it on the Telegram group, and the Telegram group is free for everybody, so that those who will come tomorrow having the same trust with the same hospital in the future, they will have a bit of a glimpse or a guide as to what to expect. So that's basically it on that angle. Now, let me just give you my bit on how to approach your first question that gives the interviewer first impression, which is what? Tell me about yourself. Now, we've been doing this consistently. Many of you will have been used to this strategy now. Many of you may also have a strategy that's already existing with you. We are not telling you to say you must follow the Express strategy or Tigway strategy or Stellar strategy. Follow what work for you. If you feel what we are giving you will work for you, why not adopt it? And it takes a little bit of practice. It becomes internalized. Now, if somebody is asking you, tell me about yourself, always know that it's the first time you are going to make a first impression. So make it right. We usually say start from your identity. What is your name? You don't need to say your country. It's not really important, because sometimes, because of fair play, some examiner may not even tell the interviewers that are coming to assess you where you are from. So they just say this person is going to be having an interview, come and assess. So sometimes, nowadays many countries have their negative identity. So some persons, because they've had some maybe bad experience about a particular country, they can just have that stereotype with that country. So when you just mention that country, they are already having that negative vibes. So you don't want to put yourself on the tight corner. So unnecessary tight corner, avoid it. So what is your name? My name is Otaigbe His, a graduate of so and so university. When you finish from the university, what happened thereafter? After you've graduated, if you did internship, you proceeded to a 1 year internship program. Now, if you are just in your NYSC and you want to now apply for a job in the UK, and you are not saying you did a 1 year internship, and you now say you're also doing a national youth service, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. What does that mean? It means that basically you don't really have a first-hand experience. So you want to be careful. If you know you don't have much experience, you don't need to say you proceeded to a 1 year internship. So rather, you just say upon your graduation, you were privileged to work, or you were privileged to work at a particular facility. So you cannot mention the name of the facility and the unit you worked. Then you were working in this particular unit. Now, if you notice that the unit you are currently working as reflected on your CV is not where they are looking for people. Let's say you are working in medical department, but the vacancy is for surgical. Now you want to adopt a smart approach. And what is that smart approach? The smart approach will not be like, my name is hello, thank you so much. Thank you for having me in this interview session. My name is Otagbe. He's a graduate of so University. Following my graduation, I proceeded to a compulsory 1 year internship. That is, if you have a long duration. If you have a long duration of your experience. If you don't have, you cannot say, following my graduation, I proceeded to work in a and so facility where I currently work as a registered nurse, right in the surgical department of this particular hospital. Now, if you notice that you are in surgical department, they are asking for somebody in A&E, then you cannot say, where I now work in the surgical department of the particular hospital. Right in this department, we are able to do this, do this, do this, and I use my nursing skill to do this. Also, in the cases of staff shortages, I have been privileged to work in other departments, most especially in the A&E department, where I have fallen in love most times when I attend to my patients. Now, you know that A&E is what they are looking for, but you don't have A&E. You are trying to tell them that even if I don't have A&E, it's not A&E I'm working, but I have worked in this A&E that you people are looking for now. So either way, I'm not a novice. So you have already given the interviewer a glimpse that if you come tomorrow, you will not be entirely new, because most times These trusts, they are concerned about, okay, what is the adjustment protocol for you? They don't want to bring somebody into the trust that will be giving them wahala, sick every day because he's not used to the system. You understand? So you have already given that glimpse. And then when you now go further, you now say, after you summarize a bit of your skills now, your skills is not just haphazard uh, summary. It's not that you are going to give the details of the word. If you see that they are looking for a nurse that can catheterize, they are looking for a nurse that can cannulate, say it and say, while working in this world, I have been privileged to use my nursing skills such as cannulation, catheterization in the care of my patients. Are you getting it? So you say all those things. They say you should, this is what they are looking for. Why are you now wanting it? Where are you carrying it to? Eh? Say it now. So after you have said that, you now move to your skills. And what are your skills? Your skills is a combination of your person and what they are looking for, their desire or essential criteria. And most times, what is their desire essential criteria? It is available on the PDF that was sent to you. If they don't need you to have it, they won't have sent it to you. So you will now add it. If they say communication, this, you will now say, you will not say my skills are, you can just say, go straight. I am a good communicator. I know the importance of communication in management of my patients, and as such, I prioritize it very well when rendering care. Additionally, I'm a leader. I've been a leader all my life. Right from when I was in my secondary school, I was a head boy, where I was able to discharge my responsibility as a leader. Even after my secondary school days, I proceeded to the university, where I was also privileged to act as the class rep of my set. During this period, I was able to discharge my leadership duty as well. So all this while I've been a leader. Currently, where I'm working, I was also assigned to anchor the particular unit in my hospital. Leadership tick. You understand? You should just summarize your skills. By the time they want to ask you the next question and they see that you have already made that, and now say, oh, okay, there are some questions we'll have loved to ask you. I think in the course of your previous conversation, you've already addressed that. So let's just proceed to the next question. Positive remark. Then they can now come to the clinical skills. Now you have done the one that can attract them. Now they just want to know whether the nursing you can really show it. Well, because they know that an average nurse has known the basic of the nursing. All they just want to know is this person fit to take that role? So your own is to prove that you are fit to take that role. Now, enough of the talk. We'll start with the tell me about yourself. We'll do a personalized question. I think when it comes to the questioning, Stella will be asking most of the questions. I don't want us to stay in this space for too long. Maybe we'll do everything in an hour or so. We should have it done. So hopefully in an hour or so, we should have it done. So that's basically it on that. Now, what we are going to do now, we are going to experiment, starting with tell me about yourself. I want to prioritize those who are going to be having their interview very soon, so that they can have the privilege of being able to assess how well prepared they are. So from there on, we can be able to accommodate others. So if you want to speak, you can just raise your hand up. This is where the first problem will come from now, because 70% will not know how to raise their hand up on Zoom. As well. So if you know how to raise your hand up on Zoom, please turn on your hand button and raise your hand up. Okay, let's start with this. If you know you're having your interview very soon, like as soon as within next week, can you indicate when are you having your interview? Just indicate and say, my interview date is so and so. Please talk. Oh, don't come and be doing for me here. I don't want anybody to know that I'm doing interview. Interview is nothing now. It's not. You see, nothing. It's not a big deal. It's getting interview does not mean you've gotten the job. It basically means that you have an opportunity to show whether you are worth getting the job or not. Many have gotten 6, 7, 8 interviews. They have not gotten the job. But that will not be your portion. So be free. Come here, make all the mistake. Forget all these witches and wizards that you hear. They say, oh, they see me now that I am doing interview. And I'm doing my own coded. I'm doing my. If we are doing coded here now, you will not see your Otaigbe here. I will be in my home. It's inconvenient that brings me here. You see, when I actually adjusted the time, we are holding a meeting for our Emgs tutorial. So I have to cancel that meeting and push it again to tomorrow just because of this interview session. So I could have decided to sleep and say, wahala, let them just, they will do well. You understand? I shifted it yesterday because of an urgent reason. Today I don't have any choice. I have to what? Make it possible for us to have this session. So if you are here now, you are doing witchy. No, I don't want them to know I'm holding interview. Let me just kukuma day my day. That this place is not for you. We are here for those who are ready to be helped. And then we can now support with the little we know because we are also not perfect. So that is basically it. iPhone is raising her hand up. You see, you see where the problem now. Who is the iPhone now? Are you people seeing somebody that is called iPhone that is raising her hand up, or maybe his hand up? Are you see only that I see iPhone raising his hand up? Okay, iPhone has dropped his hand. Now, you see the importance of changing your name. That's the first thing we spoke about. Let your identity be well spelled out so that when the next person is interviewing you, they will know that, okay, this is the person that they are interviewing. Because not everybody will know your name. Okay. So let's start with okay, let's start with Appa because I think she raised her hand up first. Then we cannot go to Ijoma and then go to Grace and then Minnie. Appa has dropped her hand. Okay, she's still on. So, hello, Appa. My name is Otaigbe His. Or before we go to the party session proper, Mrs. Stella, are you still here with us? Is she here with us? Okay, yes. I think you are.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to chip in before we proceed to the interview session proper?
No, not really. Just to encourage everyone that please let's actively contribute to this to the questions that is being asked, because at the end of the day you might think that you have an idea on the type of answer that you want to give. But when you find, you will not know that the answer that you give might not be the total way of putting it. So if you communicate, like, or if you raise your hand and you contribute when we ask questions, it will help you. And at times you might keep saying in your mind, okay, this is how I'm going to go about it. But not until you start saying it out, start speaking it, you won't know, oh, I did not construct my words correctly. Oh, this is how I was supposed to. You'll find out that your first time of even saying it out, you might stammer because you're not used to it. But when you say it like 3 or 4 times, or when you've heard another person listening to what you have to say and say, oh, this sounds good, you have your confidence will be boosted, and also you have the confidence that yes, if I go, I'll be able to smash it. So please, let's try and ensure that we say something. Raise your hand, say something. This is like we are telling you, we are giving you a mock test. I'm giving you a mock preparation for your interview. Come here, let's see how you are. The way you are, if it's good, we say go ahead. And if it's not very good, we correct you and you still go ahead and pass your interview. So thank you very much. And I'm listening and I'll ask some questions too. And I'll also add my quota if I have some things to add. Thank you very much. And let's continue.
All right, cheers. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. So let's go straight to Appa. Nurse Appa, good afternoon. My name is Otaigbe Hayes. I'm going to be your interviewer for tonight, or sorry, for today. With me is Miss Grace, and also Juliet is one of the ward manager who is going to be joining us in this session. So we are going to be asking you a couple of questions just to get to know you. and see if what you have is actually in line with our trust goals, and determine whether to bring you on board. Um, are you okay? We want you to be relaxed. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay, sir.
All right, great. Please, can you turn on your camera?
Ooh. Hey, I'm not putting up clothes, so
Hey, hey, I beg you. Close it, I beg. You don't need to turn it up again.
just 1 minute.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's move to Uzi
I was not
Undukwe
wearing
now.
shirt, so
Yeah, no problem. While you wear your shirts, let's move to Undukwe. Or should we just focus on those who turn their camera on? This one will release all for stress now. We don't have all the time. Okay, I think he's
They don't
back.
need to
So
turn their camera if they don't want to, because some people might be camera shy. But it would be good if you turn your camera so that
yeah,
you can be confident to see how you look and how you are going to be in terms of your interview. It's just a
yeah,
good practice.
yeah, that's also my major concern, because sometimes some people they talk very well off camera. So by the time they now start seeing their face, it now becomes a problem. So that's what I'm trying to just overcome. But anyway, as she said, if you feel that turning off the camera will help you to speak better, it's all good and fine. But that being said, can you kindly tell us about yourself? Hello, please. While he's telling us about himself, try and pay attention. Two things will happen. You will learn, you will get new things, and you will correct. Very important. So, can you tell us about yourself, Mr. Alpha? You are muted. You are muted. You are muted. You will speak. We will not hear you.
oh, sorry, sorry,
No
sorry,
wahala. No
sorry.
wahala. No problem
Okay,
at
yeah.
all.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Apa Iminkido, a graduate from Niger Delta University. Upon completion of my school, I started working. I worked in different health facilities where I grew from a junior staff to a senior staff. Currently, I'm working with the Nigeria LNG Hospital, where I work in the psychiatric ward. So I'm a compassionate nurse and also a good communicator. I've been able to, I listen to my patient. I listen to them, I try to make my patient comfortable. I'm also a good leader. Over the years, I've actually been privileged to be a leader and guiding people throughout their work activities. And currently, where I work as a senior nurse, I've been able to direct my junior nurse and also the interns on how they carry out with their daily activities. So over the years, I went forward to improve my professional development, where I have gotten a master's in mental health. I think this is where I stop. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. You not the valiant.
Thank you.
You done well. Kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, what do you know your trust values?
Yes, I know my trust value. My trust value is care, safe, and excellent.
Do you feel in the course of your conversation you reflected them?
No, I did not. Seriously, I did not
Okay,
reflect them.
okay, that's one. Now, secondly, do you know the desired criteria for the job role you apply for and the essential
Yes,
criteria?
I do.
Okay,
Yes, I do. The
can you
desired
highlight
role and
some of
essential
them?
criteria.
Can you highlight
So
some
one
of
of
them?
them is okay. So one of them is, like I said, a leader. A
Okay,
leader, one of them, and a person that is able to face challenges. And
okay,
one is a motivator, a
okay,
person that can motivate the adolescent. Because the place I'm going for my interview is for CAM, child and adolescent mental health.
okay.
So
So,
these are some of the few.
okay, so you can see now that in the course of your conversation, there was a reference to leadership, but every other part were more like neglected. It's not supposed to be like that. I'm not telling you to carry all of them and point to them. It is what? It's called strategy. Strategy. You see, it took, you see, have you ever thought of when people are in school, there are some students they classify as very intelligent. And when they leave that school, you will not discover that the most intelligent student in school then may not be the most successful person in the outside world. Now, this is the reason. Right. Yeah, the reason for that is when they were in school, every factors were working for them to become the best. The lecturers knows them as the best. Their fellow students knew them as the best. But when they came to the outside world, everybody were free. So nobody know who. It is what you give out that people will now use to rate you as, oh man, this person has his onions. But you see, in the class, even the person that does not know so much, if he say little thing, everybody will say, yeah. He knows what he's saying. He knows what he's saying. Because they already knew him. You understand? So it's more like when an extremely rich person makes some communication, take the election that just happened. Even when somebody is saying something, you know that this is absolute crap. Everybody will be crapping because he has a reputation. But you that is going for an interview, it's assumed that nobody knows you. Do you think that will make you to be top notch, that will make you to be top class, that will make you to be shoulder above others? It is what you give out. Sometimes you will be thinking the interviewer will ask you, they will not. They may not ask you, tell us about our values. It may be part of what they are expecting, but they want to have a glimpse of how were you able to really learn about this trust. Do you know that there are some people we interviewed recently for a Bansis role, and when they went for that job, they were asking them, can you tell us a little bit about our trust? So somebody that have not read about that trust now, what thing you go talk that your trust is certain is located in the UK. They are the top, they render healthcare services. Those are general knowledge. But by the time you go specific, they will say, oh, okay, this person really knows about what is coming in for. So we should prioritize this person. So what you give out matters a lot. You have not done well. You have not done badly, but there's room for improvement. So what you will now do now is when you listen to other persons, you are also going to jot down, and then this session is recorded. So by the time we upload the video, you will still go to the video and watch it again. How did these people answer their own? And then you will be able to have a thorough guide. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was supposed to bring in the next person, which is Ijoma. Ijoma, are you ready for us? Yeah, I'm not hearing how. Oh, I think it's maybe that you're on headset. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you actually.
Yes, I'm ready, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So my name is Otegwe His. I'm going to be your interviewer for today. Here with me is Juliet from One of the Ward, and your ward manager is from Ward 6A is Kevin. He is here with us as well. We just want to get to know you, and then we want you to be relaxed and give us your best in this interview session. So please, can you tell us about yourself?
Wow.
Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening once again. My name is Ijoma. I'm a registered nurse with over 2 years experience as a registered mental health nurse. I've been opportunity to be mentored under the leadership of a senior registered mental health nurse, where I've developed skills on documentation, communication skills, and catheterization. And these have helped me throughout my study, my practice as a nurse. I possess essential skills that would be needed in your trust, in the Oxford Trust, which are communication skill, interpersonal skill, catheterization skill, cannulation skill, even documentation skill. I know I have good writing skill, and I'm able to listen effectively without any form of confrontation or judgment. I'm able to communicate calmly and ensure my patients are okay. I also have a skill to prioritize my patients. I'm able to prioritize my patients and safety as your trust value, which stands for safety, excellence, and care. I love to ensure my patients are safe and free from any form of harm. About your other trust value, which says about excellence, I love standing out among my peers and delivering the most excellent care to patients. And what draws me more to the Oxford Trust is about the vision, which says that whoever and wherever you are, you have to say that you have gotten an outstanding care from an outstanding team. I want to be among the team that will bring out outstanding care. I have always have leadership skill, and which is among the role that I'm applying for. I have led more than 15 members in my current role. I have good motivational skill, and I'm able to delegate effectively. I also have a good clinical judgment and triage. I'm able to prioritize my patient and know where to channel my energy. I have good time management skill. I'm able to manage my time, delegate effectively, prioritize my patients, and also risk assessment. I'm able to assess my patients, assess the community, and
Okay. Can you stop? Good. Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Do you know why I stopped you?
No, sir.
Because it's getting too long. It's getting too long. Now, you've done well in your preamble. But when you are summarizing the skills you have, see, this is another tip that you should take note of.
Okay.
When you are addressing, tell me about yourself, they don't want you to say the whole word. They want you to be brief yet concise. What that
Okay,
means
sir.
is, even if you want them to stop you, you want to answer the question first. It's like IS speaking. For us that anchor IS tutorial, we always say that when you are addressing IS speaking, first of all, try to answer the question, even if you want to rigmarole everywhere. Make sure you answer the question, because there's a total time allotted for a particular question. Because if you don't answer the question, it's assumed that you don't have an understanding of what they are asking you. So answer the question first. Now, tell me about yourself. Make sure that you create time to summarize your skills before. When I mean your skills, now I'm not talking about your nursing skills. I'm talking about your general skill that reflect the trust value, because this is very important at this point. So once you are able to do that, it will really go a long way to helping you. So let's also hear from others in reference to what you have contributed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay,
Hello.
can anybody reflect
Hello.
on what was her performance? What do you have to say?
Good evening, sir. Please, I would like to
Hi,
say
good evening.
something.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yes,
Blessed.
good evening. All right, sir. As regards this, laying more emphasis on the skills, the values, and all of that. My last interview, after I got an unsuccessful email from them,
Yes,
so I sent them a mail that I wanted to know why the interview was unsuccessful. And part
that's
of the
good.
things that they used that was used against me was the fact that they said I kept listening because my approach towards answering this question, actually, they didn't ask me directly at the beginning that I should introduce myself. They said they asked about, they started with their values and the skills, that what are the skills and values that I know that will be essential for the role. So my knowledge about the question was just that, okay, they are stylishly asking me about their values. And then they were now giving me a report that I kept listing the values, I that they actually commended, like, fine, like I knew their values and I gave them all of them. But they were like, I was listing it and I was actually like taking it and relating it to the skills. So it's actually confusing. What she just did now is what I usually do, like listing the skills with the values when it comes to introducing yourself. And if I don't get a direct question of introduce yourself, in other questions that they get to ask, you find ways to like stylishly put it inside so that they will know that okay, you have a good understanding of their values
Okay.
and everything. So now it's actually confusing. So what's now the right thing to do?
Yeah, I will address it now. So, Bleble, what can you remember the value of that particular trust?
I can't remember.
Just so
I
even
think
if it's one.
compassion. I think compassion. Yes,
Okay,
compassionate,
compassion.
having compassion.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
okay. So, can you remember the particular question they ask you?
Hmm. They were like, because I know it was not a direct introduce yourself question. They were like, can I tell them about the necessary skills and values that are efficient to the role or something like that. So at
Okay,
the back of my mind, I just add, yes, they're asking for their values.
okay. Though, so you shouldn't have concluded like that. Now, if you listen to me very well, I said they actually caught you. How did they catch you? They caught you because they felt that you were doing uh, like garbage in, garbage out. What they just requested you give. So I said you should be able to bring your own skill and bring their own skill to the table. Now they are looking for compassionate. You have your own. You could decide to start with your own and then bring their own in. Meanwhile, they are looking for their own. It doesn't really mean that you don't have your own. So when I said just now that a trust is asking for a good communicator, me as I brought my leadership skills in, right? What does that tell you? It tells you that you are not just doing copy and paste. You are trying to internalize their value to make it look as if it's your value. It's not just that you are telling them based on the fact that you saw it there. So when you see their value, you have to now add your what? Your additional value that are external of their own value. So those additional value are what you are going to mix up. So they don't look as if because you took time to read their job description or personal specification or trust value, you are just trying to just give it to them. Nobody wants to employ a robot. You understand? I'm not saying you are a robot too, so that you know that.
Mhm.
So that is the essential point, essential take home. Now, let's say the interviewer say, okay, can you tell us some of your skills? And meanwhile, their hospital, what they are asking, looking for is a good communicator, somebody who is, let's say, a good collaborator. You can start with where I'm somebody who is passionate about knowledge. Because of this, I have taken it upon myself to continually read journals and other nursing write-up and books that can help my professional journey and increase my knowledge and practice. Additionally, I have been a leader, uh, coordinating the this and this and this. Then also, I know how important it is for you to be able to relate well with your colleagues. And as such, I prioritize communication as a major skill which I possess. Now, communication is part of them, what they are looking for. But I came from the leadership angle. I smashed their communication. I may bring another thing in, then I will not smash another skill they are looking for. If they say communication is what they are looking for, and I said I have a good interpersonal skills with others, I relate well. I may not necessarily mention the word communication per se. It's more like what they call summarizing or paraphrasing in IELTS. So when you go like that, you will have brought your person into the interview and not just the trust. Remember, I said, telling the examiner what the examiner want to hear is your interview. Telling them what they want to hear. What they want to hear is they want somebody that meets what they are looking for, but yet it's not rubbing it on their face. I don't know if you get my point. Yet it's not rubbing it on their face. So you may beat about the bush, but you give them what they are looking for. Indirectly, not a list. You just list it out. I'm a good communication, because you know that their next value is passion. I'm passionate about nursing care. Passion has been everything I've been doing from beginning to the end. Then you now know that their next skill is somebody who is interested in clinical education. Clinical education is one of the things I love very. You understand what I'm saying? Don't go that way. I don't know, Blebe. Have you gotten something from what I'm explaining? Is she
Yes,
still with
yes,
us?
sir. Yes, sir, I'm
Okay.
with you, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. Let's quickly move to another person so that we'll not dwell too much, because Stella, I didn't want to speak.
No, no,
Yes, I
no,
want
that's
to add something. So just like he said, when you're looking at your essential criteria, right, you don't necessarily need to mention everything. Or when you're looking for skills that they need, let's say they put so many things there, you can pick like three out of the many, or four. At least it should be under the essential criteria, not desirable, please. Essential criteria. You can pick the three or four and use that in your interview. Now, it does not mean that you must mention, oh, your value is this, this. No, you can indirectly chip it in. And I tell you, the moment you indirectly chip it in, the moment they've heard what they want to hear, but you indirectly chip it in, they will just document, you'll just write something down, because those are part of what they are waiting to hear. Rather than you saying caring, there are other ways of saying caring. Rather than you saying communication, there are other ways of saying communication. You can use synonyms, different ways to relate it. You understand? Ahead. It does not mean you have to keep rubbing it like on their face. Oh, communication, communication, communication. That no, no, no. I relate well with my team members. I always believe that in a world, the only way a word can strive is if every team members work very well. And so I have that skill, because as a nurse, this is one of the important skill you need. You understand? The work is already stressful. Why not make the word somewhere peaceful for people? So this is always at the back of my mind. And so I try to ensure that relating well with my fellow colleague is important. I've told them I have good interpersonal skill, but I did not necessarily rub it on their face that it's interpersonal skill I need. I can as well mention interpersonal, but I'll just mention it once. Do you understand? But and also doesn't mean that I'll have to keep focusing on only what they say. There are other things that they might want to hear. You understand? And there are also other things that might not be there, but it will leave an impression on these people, like, wow, this person is really good. It will leave a very good impression on them. Like, in fact, even if some things are not documented that they want there, but this person, no matter what, is someone that we need, because this person is, because they are not just interviewers. They're like nurses that are interviewing you. So when you are telling them some things, like practical things of what you have done, they can relate. Let it be relatable. And because they can relate, you understand, it will enable them know that yes, this person really has this experience. That's how you know someone that has experience as someone that don't really have experience. Because when you are talking, you can get relatable words. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And just to quickly add, basically, you should not even by any chance mention the name, the value of the trust, and say, the trust value is this all through your interview. The only time you will need to mention that the trust value of this is maybe they're asking you, why do you apply for this job? So you cannot go like, okay, thank you so much for that question. When I saw this vacancy, I took my time to know more about the trust. So in the course of researching about the trust, I came across their values, and I discovered that their trust value is this, and this is actually what resonates with my personal value. And I really want to work in a place where the trust value resonates with my personal value, because this helps for easy adjustment and so on and so forth. So other than that aspect, you don't need to even tell anybody about, don't mention value about anybody value. But indirectly, you will be what? Hitting the point. you will be getting the thick of the point. So just as she said, if they are looking for 10, pick 3, add your own 2 or your own 4, and paraphrase it. You will do well. So you will do well. So that's basically it on that. All right, thank you so much. And then another thing too, I want to correct about Ijoma. Ijoma, you said you have 2 years of experience. That's very nice. 2 years of
Yes, sir.
experience. Yeah, that's very nice. But another thing too is, if you have somebody that is on that interview session with you that have 7 years of experience, that your 2 years of experience now will just be like waiting there to wait. You understand? So, as I always say, preach your good side and hide your bad side. Let them find out. So, if you know you don't have so much years of experience, you don't need to mention it. You understand? If you know say your experience not plenty, you don't need to mention it, so that they will not go and judge you by your experience and say, "Oh, this one
Okay,
is
sir.
too." So if you know the nursing practice itself, but you don't have much experience, don't go and say I have 2 years experience. But rather you can just say I'm a nurse working in so and so unit. Just like the first person, Mr. Harper said, he said he has worked in different units in his time of through his practice days. So you can also say, if you are working in different units, say it. If you are working in different hospitals, say it. But you don't necessarily need to what? Say that you have 2 years experience. But if you have 5 years experience now, sweet. Talk. You have 4 years experience, say it. You understand? So that's basically it on that. So let's introduce Grace. Grace, let me just go straight. Can you tell us about yourself? Nurse Grace
Okay.
Chinelo.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, there are 2 Grace, so I was calling the other one. Okay, you just go ahead since you started speaking. I think you
I'm
are
actually
only
even not prepared. Please let the second person answer.
okay. No problem. Because you were raising
Yes.
your hand up.
Yes.
Chinelo,
Yeah.
please, can you speak? Okay, let's say Chinelo is not prepared as well. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You are muted. You are muted. Tap the bottom part of your Zoom link, and then you just remove the oh. Chinelo, Ijaman does not know how to unmute herself. Okay, honey. See what I'm talking about now? Somebody's name is Honey. Honey. Your name should not be Honey, oh. Go and change it.
Maybe that's her name. Oh. So maybe I
Eh.
will call Honey. Yeah.
Oh, it's true. I'm sorry for that. Okay, Honey, can you unmute your mic and speak?
Sorry, that's
It-
my name.
oh my God, that's sweet. I've never heard of that. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, sir.
So please put the other name to your son name so that the whole thing can blend. It will be
Okay.
easier for a person to recognize that it's a name. Assuming it's me now that is your ward manager that is seeing Honey, I will be thinking otherwise. I'll be thinking of Honey like Honey. So can you tell us about yourself?
Thank you very much for this interview opportunity. My name is Yishro Oindamola, a registered nurse with experience in various departments, both as student and also as a staff nurse. My career into nursing started when I enrolled in a reputable nursing school in my country, where I had some years of training. And my debut into mental health nursing started about 2 years ago, where I've been opportune to be working in a mental health department of my institution. Actually, my interest in mental health nursing started from my nursing school days, where I was exposed to about 3 months of orientation, training, and practical in mental health nursing. And then I've been interested in pursuing a career in caring for people with mental health problems and disability. Presently, I work in a female acute mental health unit in my hospital, where I've been able to provide care in form of working with multidisciplinary team and also care, safeguard, and protect my patients. I am skilled in carrying out psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical therapy, and also I've been exposed to various patients with different mental health conditions, starting from dementia patients, patients with depression, anxiety, patients with anxiety disorders, patients who suffer from PTSDs. Personally, I am caring. I go all out. I go all out for my patients. I ensure to be compassionate and be empathetic in delivering of care to patients. I am also courageous. I take safeguarding as a thing. I take it very important. I think this is just stuff.
Okay. All right. You've done well. You've done well. So, do you know your trust values?
Yes,
Do you feel in the course of your conversation you integrated it?
the trust value is caring, safe, and excellent. So I was only mentioning the caring part.
Okay. All right. Just as we said before, you've heard us now speak about this multiple times. You may not necessarily have to rub it on their face that that's what you are addressing, but just have a little bit of a touch on it through your interaction. Chances are they are most likely going to stop you during the tell me about yourself, because some trust also don't want you to talk too much so that they can have room to address other questions. So do we have one or two feedback? What do you guys think about how did Honey perform? You can unmute your mic and speak. Hey, these people are shy. Oh. Don't you have feedback about how Honey performed? Honey, you did well. Since they don't want to commend you, you did well. Except that
She actually did
Please
nice.
commend me.
Hello. Hello.
yeah, yeah, I feel you did well. Except that I also want you to go and check that app
Hello.
job you applied. Can you hear me? Yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. You did
Can
well.
you hear me now?
Yeah, who is speaking? Yeah, we can hear you. Is it who is speaking? Okay, let me go ahead. Please, honey, I want you to go and check your job you apply for. Check for if they need somebody with experience in mental health, maybe high level of experience. There must be a way they will put it. It will give you a glimpse on whether they need somebody that has high experience rate in mental health. Why I'm saying it because of your reference to your 2 years of experience. You understand? I am always concerned about anything that will put you at a disadvantage. Skip it so that you can emphasize on your strengths rather than letting people know your weakness. Okay. Thank you so much for that. If you know we have called your name and you've spoken, please drop your hand so that those we have not called can speak. We will soon round up on this and then we'll deal with the general questions. Let me go to randomly. Let me go to Eneji. And Eneji, please, can you tell us about yourself? Eneji, blessing.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed. My name is Energy Blessing. I'm a registered nurse. I was opportune to be trained in my country. It's over 5. Sorry, let me start afresh. Jesus. My name is Energy Blessing Chinoyelum, a registered nurse with over 5 years experience. I trained in a school of nursing in my country, and I was opportune to be exposed to different units, and I was also opportune to learn from different areas in the hospital as part of my training. After my training in school, I was able to practice in live in a hospital in Nigeria. Oh God, sorry. I don't think I'm ready for this.
Okay, no, it's not bad at all. You've done well. Correct. You see, it's what I call I sabi speak English, but sometimes it dey hook. It happens to everybody, even to me. So it's not nothing, no big deal at all. The thing now is, by the time you practice it, it's most like what we are. Currently working on our OSCID class, trying to see how we can structure it properly to help more nurses that are going to be coming for self sponsorship. But it's like what we do. We know that sometimes, even when you are trying to express yourself, it may look as if, oh, you not sabi. Not be say you not sabi. It's just that you have not practiced it well enough. See, all these people that are speaking here now, if they tell you what they do in their secret place, some will sit down, carry camera, carry mirror. They will say it over and over and over and over again. It not go to them. Look at me. I say, my name is Sotagwe. He's a guy of the so and so university. Upon graduation, I proceeded to a 1 year internship. And following my internship experience, I was privileged to work in a particular hospital. And during this period, I acquired skills, and this. I am this. I am that. You think it just happen like that? It's practice, no magic. Not because I'm intelligent. It's because I do it over time. It now grew. It just stick. So I just know, okay. And you know the thing I say. I'm always say upon my graduation. Is that the only word in the universe? But his practice is good to me. So all it just means is you need to do more practice. So you play this video again, play the one we've done in the past, and then when you are playing it, you do practice, practice. And before you know it, perfection becomes very good. But if you have not tried now, that is the importance of unmuting your mind to speak. If you have not tried now, you will think you are very good. By the time now come for the main interview, it will now look as if you are not galloping. And when you start with galloping, your confidence can dwindle. And you don't want anything that will dwindle your confidence, you see. So don't worry, you will smash it by God's grace. So let's take it to Onyeka. Onyeka, tell us about yourself. From there, Ms. Stella can start introducing the main question for us to attend. Onyeka, go ahead, please. I think Onyeka is not here. Okay. Mrs. Stella, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Do you want us to start the next stage?
Yes, please. Just proceed to the next stage. You see, Mrs. Onyeka is not here with us.
Okay.
For me, so I was thinking you were speaking with someone else.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
All right,
Can you tell us about yourself?
All right, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be interviewed for the role of mental health staff nurse. My name is Oyekomi Damola, and I'm a dedicated and passionate registered mental health nurse. Over the years, I've gained valuable experience and knowledge in providing compassionate care and support to individuals suffering from mental health condition. In the course of my career, I gained my diploma in nursing in School of Nursing Bowe University in Teaching Hospital. And during my time there, I was privileged to work in various departments, especially the mental health unit. The experience I gained there allowed me to develop a well-rounded skills in assessing and treating individuals with mental health condition. Currently, I work in a mental health center, which is one of the best currently in the state, and I've taken care of various patients with mental health conditions such as dementia, mania, schizophrenia, bipolar, and many more. Some of my key responsibilities include assessing, planning, implementing, and evaluation of my patient care to ensure they meet up to standard. I also carry out administration of medication. I ensure I give the right medication to the right patient at all times, and I watch for the adverse effects of the medication given. Also, I provide therapeutic interventions to my patients, such as family therapy, group therapy, CBT, and the likes. I am also a strong advocate of my patients' rights. I ensure I make accurate documentation and up-to-date record of my patient treatments, plans, assessments, and intervention. I also provide managerial supervisions to my young colleagues, and I also serve as a mentor to students, nurses. I teach them, help to build their skills in order for them to gain competency. I also, in terms of skills, I possess a strong communication and interpersonal relationship. I work collaboratively with other multidisciplinary brains, such as the social therapists, the psychologists, in order to provide holistic care for my patients. I'm empathetic, compassionate, and not judgmental, and this allows me to develop a therapeutic relationship with my patients. I also create an environment whereby my patients feel loved, respected, and understood. I also prioritize patient-centered care. That is, I put my patient first. I work collaboratively with my patients. I consider their values, their preference when planning their care and also their treatment of their care. Also, I'm someone who is committed to professional growth and continuous learning. Oftentimes, I go for trainings and seminars. Even in fact, recently I completed a dialectic behavioral therapy training. In addition, I'm knowledgeable of the Mental Health Act, risk assessment, safeguarding policy. I'm someone who is observant. I also note and take action whenever I notice my patient is suffering or is at risk of suffering from any form of abuse. And I follow my organization agreed ways of workings in order to report to escalate the issue. Lastly, one of the skills I also possess is a good interpersonal relationship and communication with all multidisciplinary friends and my patients. I communicate openly and honestly with all members of the team, because this is essential in order to provide holistic care for my patients. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. Did we hear her? Did we hear her speak? Let's just hear few comments. Few comments, and then we introduce the main aspect now. Few comments. Did you hear her speak? How did she perform?
Yes, she spoke very well. In fact, it was just like she should not stop talking.
Examiners don't pass. Don't pass you. Okay, go ahead. Who else want to comment? What did you think?
Like it's also glaring that she has like practiced it several times and she has arranged them well, which she knows she'll put them. She did
Okay.
well.
Okay, that's good. I want to thank Josephine. I had been admiring her picture. She looks smart and nice. But before, her name was iPhone. Now she's not Josephine Chinaza. God bless you. Okay. Uh, Eunice, do you have something to say? You are raising your hand up. Eunice, Ogochukwu Eunice, do you have something to say? If you don't have something to say, take your hand down so that Stella can bring us into the real clinical station. All right, Stella, go ahead. Please, can you integrate us now? Go ahead with the questions. She will be the anchor now. Me, I will be the monitor. All right, thank you. Is Stella here?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was trying to get everything ready for me to start. Good
Okay.
evening, everyone. Nice to meet you guys again. So normally, I just want to add a few things before we move into the section. In the question and in the tell me about yourself question. For those that are struggling to look for or struggling to give answers, it's kind of easy for you if you have a pattern in which you can give an answer, whereby you have how you progress. So maybe you tell yourself, okay, I will start by talking about my school, where I graduated from. I graduated from this school. Then next, I will go further to talk about my work experience, where I've worked, the kind of maybe I've taken care of medical patients, surgical patients, and maybe some of my patients, maybe some cases, maybe you say you've taken care of complex cases, maybe dementia and all that, whatever you want to talk about your work experience, make sure that each of this section is not more than 1 minute, okay? So once you've talked, or don't know if 1 minute is too long, because everything should be, this tell me about yourself question must be at least 2 minutes long. So make sure you're not talking too long, but you're also hitting the important points that they want to hear. Now, once you've finished talking about your work experience, you can say, okay, the next one you talk about is the qualities that they need or qualities that you have. Now, when you're putting your qualities, make sure that the essential criteria that they requested for in the job description is include, at least 3 of it is included in that one. So once you are done with that stage, you know, okay, the next stage I'm going to talk about the values. You must not say my values resonate to your values, but you can just like chip it in. You can chip it in during your, when you're talking about your skills. You can also chip it in after that. Then you can move further to talk about if you're someone that has gone further for other degrees, because NHS uh, or different company always like people that are always looking for ways to improve themselves. So if you have gone further to learn how to do and so even if you've done midwifery, you've gone further to do RN, you've learned BLS, you can add to say, I have great taste of knowledge as I go further to improve my knowledge by going for courses, seminars, and all that. You can add that, okay? So now once you've added that, then you can round it up by saying, if what you will be adding to the organization if you are being recruited, you can say that if I'm be given an opportunity to work with this company, I'll bring in my wealth of experience, my wealth of knowledge, and be able to add my quota to the growth of the company. Just like that, you already have a proper organization on how you are going to go through your answers. And because of it, when you are giving the answer, you don't need to struggle because you've already, remember, first, you need to practice, 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 practice. There is enable you know how you can give an answer. So you will not be jumping from pillar to post, and you will not also miss important points, because it's good that while you are giving this answer, you are strategic in giving the answer. Very, very important, because you are selling yourself to them. So thank you so much for that. So we'll be moving to the next stage. So I'm just going to um I'll ask some questions, okay? Um just a second. Questions. I stored them somewhere. When you are okay, so before, why this is still loading and coming up. So what I want to say is that when you are preparing for interviews, right? When you're preparing for interviews, like Mr. Ace rightly said initially, you need to know what to expect when you're preparing for interview. You need to know what to expect, know the kind of question that they'll probably be asking you. So number one thing that you know when they're asking you, they'll definitely ask you a question about your work experience, your personal self. And that's where they tell me about yourself. And why do you think you're the best person for this role? Why did you apply for our job? You understand? Sorry about that. So why did you apply for our job? Why do you think you're the best person for this role? Why do you think we should take you for the role? All those questions are more of like personal work experience and all that. Now, after that question, I'm just going to be listing the kind of thing you should expect before we go further to start asking you some questions. Next question you want to expect in interview, especially in nurses interview, is conflict management. How would you manage conflicts? Conflict with your fellow worker, conflict with your senior person, if a patient relative tell you that they are not happy with your care, how will you respond to that? If a patient is not happy with your care, how will you respond to that? If a staff member shouts on you or you have an argument, how will you respond to that? If someone shouts on you, how will you respond? So conflict management is another important question that they normally ask within for the role of nurses. That's another one. Now, another type of question you expect in an interview is question related to risk management. Yes, infection and control. Okay, how do you ensure that you maintain the standard precaution in the hospital? What will you do if you observe that somebody is not maintaining the infection and control standard? You understand? So this is how we you need to know what to expect if you enter a room. If your patient, you admit a patient, the patient has pressure sores, how do you manage them? Okay. If you enter a room and you see a patient is on the floor, how will you manage them? Okay. If you enter, how will you prevent falls? These are risk. How will you prevent someone from falling? How do you prevent someone from getting excess weight, especially for mental health and people? Most of your patients at times are risk of weight gain. How do you do that? So these are risk management questions that you need to be prepared for. Now, apart from that, there are other questions like medicine management. They could ask you some questions whereby so they can ask you calculation questions. Okay, you are prescribed to give this. How many rates will you give it? And you are allowed to use calculator in an interview. 100% allowed to use calculator in an interview. Okay. Your duty of conduct. When something bad happens, how do you, or when you make a mistake, how do you react after making a mistake? If you make a medication error mistake, how do you react? What do you do? What's the next step that you take? Your escalation plan. If something happened, how will you escalate it? Who will you report to? What are your steps towards reporting? Okay, so these are things that they ask you in your interview that you need to be prepared for. What are the policies? What are the principles for those that are applying for mental health? What are your principles? What is the Mental Health Act? What is Mental Capacity Act? And how will you relate all of this in your practice? So these are what is duty of conduct. Okay, these are questions that they normally ask you when you are preparing for an interview. Okay, and there are some things that you need to know, like this mental health acts for those that are mental capacity acts, which everybody should know actually. If you are into what are they calling it? If you are general nurse, you need to know duty of candor. Then I'm trying to remember the 7 pillars. I can't remember that it's 7 in number. You need to know that particular one. Let me look for it because I keep forgetting whenever I want to do the interview. The name, 7 principles of something. Let me try and browse it online. So if I can get it, I know them. Yes, that's it. 7 pillars of clinical governance. It's clinical governance. So you need to know some of this at the back of your mind. Okay. What is the NHS or what is NMC role or principles of nurse? Remember they'll say be professional and prioritize patients, promote professionalism, all those things. What are the 6 C's of nursing? And you having all these ideas about these specific things, it makes it easy. Whenever you are asked a question in an interview, you can easily relate. Like we said before, it's not you should it's not you must not say, oh, the 6 C's of nursing, no, but you can chip it in your question. Okay, because at times there's a question they will ask you. For example, what is the role of a nurse? Okay, what is the role of a nurse? You can give an answer what the role of a nurse is, but if you are stuck, you can if you remember all these qualities and all this other stuff, you can be able to use them to give an answer. What are the qualities a nurse should have? Whenever they ask me personally that question all those years, I just use the 6 C's and the 4 P's to give my answer. Now remember that when you are giving an answer, just like Blessing said, they said you don't just only say the word. Don't just say, I'm a good communicator, I'm a caring nurse, I am compassionate, I've got no. How will you be doing that? Everybody will say the same thing. I mean, in your when you're applying for, if you are doing your applying for the job and you put all that, that's fine. I mean, they are not within those key points, maybe the because they use a system to select all those things. Maybe the technology picked it out from your application and bring it for the interview. But now you're in an interview, you need to tell them, like you need to let them know that I have this thing and I have done it, and this is how I have done it. And it's not a must that you talk for too long. 2 statements is fine. Use the STAR technique. Situation, the task, the action, and the results. What was the situation? What was the task that happened? What was the action you carried? And what was the results? Just those 4 principles will enable you not to go far and wide and go from to different places to give answer. But instead, you have the way you can give the answer, especially when they ask you to describe. Can you tell me a time when you nursed the patient and the patient relative was angry with you? What did you do? So you knowing the STAR technique, okay, I will talk about a particular situation, I'll talk about the task, I'll talk about the action, I'll talk about the results. Then you quickly just create a situation that happened. And it must not be a situation that is far away. It might be something that happened in your everyday life as a nurse, something that is very, very small. And you can just use that as an example. All they just want to see is that, yes, you've demonstrated the act. It must not be a massive thing that they want. They just want to see that, yes, you have demonstrated that act when you are giving an answer. That's for the describing answers, okay? But for the question, when they're asking you, what's the qualities of a nurse? Oh, and how you have demonstrated this. You can talk about, oh, one of the qualities of a nurse is communication. And as a nurse, every day in our life, we communicate with our patients because this is the only way you can be able to understand the patient's needs. This is the only way you can be able to tailor your care according to the patient needs. Because one of the NMC guidelines is to prioritize patients. And because of this, if you do not have a good communication skills, you will be lacking in understanding what they need and offering the best care. So I ensure that I have developed this skill over time and I've been commended for it by my patients and my patient relative. So I'm very positive that I have done it because I've demonstrated it in different aspects of my nursing care and my personal life. A very simple answer, but that highlights that yes, you have done this. You're not just saying I have got good communication, but you are letting them know that okay, because this is a nursing skill. I've done this. People have commended me. I know the importance of doing it. That makes them know that okay, even this person is actually like unique, different from someone that is just coming to say, I've got interpersonal skill, I communicate with my patients, I've got this one. No, you have to like make them desire you. You understand? You are selling yourself. What I always tell people in every interview is this is an interview they ask you in few words, or in a sentence or in two sentences, not two words now. Sentence is longer than words. Words is I, you. Sentence is when you're making a full sentence. So like in two sentences, can you sell me your product and I will pay you 1 million naira for that product? That is how you should approach all these questions. So I've spoken too much already. Now, let me ask you guys a question now, which is I'm going to be using previous questions from interviews that has happened. Oh, don't tell me this thing has come again. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to be using previous questions from interviews that people have done. Now, I'm not going to call anybody the way Mr. Ace has been calling, because I believe that if you have an interview, you should want to speak in the interview. Okay. So number one question I'm going to ask someone now, or anybody that is ready to give me an answer, is, and if you know you have an answer, just unmute your mic and speak. Okay. And once one person is hearing another person speaking, just keep your own mic muted. Okay. Thank you so much. So the first question I'm going to ask you is that you are you are nursing a patient in the ward. Okay. You're nursing a patient in the ward, and one of your colleagues just come in front of you and made a very rude comment to you. What would you do? I'm expecting you guys someone should answer, or before I start calling one person one after the other.
Sorry, please, the question again.
Okay, I will go again. So you are nursing a patient in the ward, okay, and a colleague comes to you and shouted at you and made a rude comment to you. What would you do?
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Let me
Okay.
make it.
Can I try?
Okay.
Should I?
Okay, I think I should take the principle of everybody raise your hand if you want to speak. Okay, let's have if you want to speak, raise your hand, so I'll pick one or two persons to speak. Okay,
I'll just
answer. You
try.
can go ahead, Mr. Appa, because and then second person will be Miss, I don't know if it's Miss or Mrs. Damola that gives the answer. Miss Ogochukwu and Ijoma, I'll ask you guys to answer the next question. So let's have the first two persons that raise their hands. Mr. Appa, the next person, Damola, Onyi Damola. Thank you.
Okay,
So,
so Upper. Okay. So what I will need to do is I'll continue what I'm doing because my client is the major priority in whatever I'm doing. I'll apologize to my patient, continue what I'm doing. Once I'm through, making sure that my patient is comfortable. When I'm through with that, I would call my colleague to the side. I'll call my colleague to the side and try to talk to my colleague in a calm voice, and I'll try to know what is the problem, what is wrong. If after trying to talk to my colleague, she refuses or he refuses, it continues, I'll move straight to the nursing manager and also complain to the nursing manager. If nothing is done, then I'm also going to fill an incident form. I think that is what I will need to do. Thank you.
okay, thank you so much for that. Mr. Appa, can we have Miss or Mr. Damola? I don't know. I know Damola is a unisex name.
Oyinda is my name. Sorry.
Okay,
right.
all right. So sorry about if I pronounced your name wrongly.
No problem. All right, thank you very much for this question. And as an experienced mental health nurse, the first thing I do is to ensure my patient is safe first. I need to prioritize my patient because this is one of the requirements of NMC. And after ensuring that my patient is safe, I attend to my patient's needs. Then I call my colleague, which is another requirement of NMC also is to maintain professionalism at all times. And the attitude portrayed by my colleague then was not professional. So I called her to side and explain family way. And if there's a need for my colleague to get the training or so in order to help him or her, probably or she's going through or a personal issue or so, I escalate to my line manager in which training or any support should be put in place. And after doing this, I also document the incidents by writing it in the incidents form. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Nurse Damola. Do any other person have anything contrary to say? You can speak.
Yes, I still have something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, if I'm doing something, maybe I'm attending to my patients, carrying out a procedure, then my colleagues comes around or one or two, and maybe immediately begin to shout and recommend me for what I'm doing. I think the action is, to some extent, might cause a distraction with what I'm doing. So to be on the safe side and having all this understanding that at any time we are working, our patient is number one, the patient is our priority. I won't talk to my colleague that time. I will respond, but will rather concentrate and finish with what I'm doing with my patients. Then I can go back later and we sort it out with my colleague.
Okay, thank you so much. All of you have answered very well to that. We can mute our mic if you're not speaking, so that let me mute. Let me mute. Yeah, please mute your mic if you're not speaking. Thank you. So all of you have actually spoken very well and given a good response to that question. So yes, at that time, patient priority is the most important. You have to ensure that you continue the care you are giving to the patient. But first, when your colleague has told you that particular thing or shouted at you, focus on the patient. Try to ensure that assess yourself internally and say, okay, is there if what she shouted at was like, stop what you are doing, you are making a mistake. maybe you are making an error, but she didn't communicate it well. You probably have to like hear, okay, what was that about? Okay, was he an error something? Then probably you take action and stop it if you're about to make an error mistake. Although, yes, she did not correct properly. All right. But if it was something that was a rude comment and is not acceptable, then you won't react at that particular time. You will continue the care you're rendering to your patient. Now, after, you go and meet the colleague and find out what happened. And then try to understand why she communicated with you that way, and then try to amicably resolve it by letting her know that next time, please do not, it's not nice or it's not the right way to communicate in front of a patient like that, because you'll be hampering the care or disturbing the care rendered to the patient. You can call me aside and speak to me. Try to resolve it, okay? Now, if it's not being resolved amicably, and if it's still affecting the care of the patient, you go ahead and report to the nurse in charge of the duty, or you go ahead and report to your line manager, you go ahead and report to your ward manager, and you document what has happened. Okay. And also, if it's something that she was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just that I was just not in my right state of mind. And if you find out that she needs support, just like somebody say, maybe she needs support, you can also recommend support for her. Also inform your manager who will recommend a support for her. So I've actually said what all of you have said. I've just added one or two things to it. So well done for that. Now we'll move to another question. And I'll try and ensure that I include mental health people in this, because I see that we have so many mental health here as well. But before I continue, do we have community health nurses here? Let me know whether I will skip community health question.
Yes.
Okay, you have them. Okay, all right, that's fine. So let's leave that. Let's go to the next one. So this question now is let's see which one will I use? Not this one. Let me look for another one. Why do you have an interest? Why do you no, this is for band 6. You guys are not doing a band 6 question. What will you do if you make a drug error? How would you react, and what will be the way you carry out your reaction? No, let's finish. Wait, before you answer, let's finish conflict management first before we enter the next question. Okay, so the next question is, a colleague, a patient relative said that they are not happy with your care. What will you do?
Okay. Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, if a patient relatives complain about the care I've rendered to them, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to ask questions from them and get details of the aspect of care they are not satisfied with. Then I will apologize to them, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my ward manager and make this information known to them, and also request for further trainings if it's an aspect I think I need further training in. And I'm going to look deeper into my actions to ensure that the same mistakes are not being repeated. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Do anyone have another answer to give? You can unmute your mic and speak.
Thank you very much for this. Oh, sorry. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for this question. As a nurse who is high on feedback and constructive criticism, if I have a patient whose relative complain about the care being rendered, the first thing I will do is to address this situation calmly and in a composed manner. And this I will do by listening attentively to what the complaint is. I would try as much as possible to not be defensive, and then I will ensure I'm composed. Yes, I will not be defensive. Then I will ask questions. I will ask what their suggestion is. Then I will provide empathy. If it is something that is beyond my power, probably due to the hospital policy, maybe the complaint is about not allowing them to come into the ward at a particular time, I will explain why this is, what the reason for the action is, why the hospital laid down this particular rule. However, if it is a personal complaint about the way I rendered care, maybe there is a particular way I've not been dignifying my patients, or probably they noticed the care I rendered, maybe it is not in a compassionate manner. I will apologize for this. I will encourage them. I will apologize for this, then I will encourage them to make a formal complaint if they would like to. Then I will see my line manager. This is because I may probably need like a training on how to best address this particular procedure, or how to care for my patients in a way that will be suitable to them. So this I will do if I have a relative that complains. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much for that. So both of you have answered well. The first person really did well, and the second person did excellently well as well. So the first person did well, but if I want to go for someone that summarized everything in total, it's going to be the last person that spoke, because you also understood the fact that the person might be complaining about maybe a policy that maybe they do not fully understand, but you're just following the policy, so you are going to explain everything. Then you also brought in the fact that it could be a care that you render too, so you balanced both of them. So it could be something that their unhappiness spanned up, or is comes from a place whereby there's a misunderstanding of a particular thing, and then you are explaining it to them, and it comes from the part that, okay, you have done something wrong, or your care was not sufficient, and you've apologized, you've told them how to go about the formal complaints, you've informed your manager for formal training and all that, and that's a perfect way of giving the answer. Both of you have done very well, and well done for that answer. Now let's go to the next question regarding conflict management. How will you handle, okay, discrimination among colleagues? Okay, that one is still almost the same thing with the other one that you've given an answer with. So let's not dwell on the ones that we've already given. You see a colleague speaking to a patient abusively. What will you do? You see a colleague speaking to a patient abusively. What will you do? This is from Mid and East Sussex, and the people that interviewed this person was a Filipino. So that's why Mr. Ace was telling you that you should make sure that your this thing is standard, because Filipino are like Africans. We have like our kind of mindset as well too. So can someone give the answer? You see a colleague speaking to a patient abusively, what will you do?
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
So firstly, if I walk into a ward and see my colleague talking to a patient aggressively or abusively, the first thing I will do is to wade into the situation. I will try to listen to my colleague. I'll listen to her effectively without any form of confrontation. I will take her to a separate room where I will preserve her dignity. Also, in mind, I'm prioritizing my patients to ensure my patient is also calm. Then I'll listen to my
No, hold
colleague.
on. The patient is not your patient. The patient is your colleague patient. And
Okay,
you encountered your colleague speaking to a patient abusively. What will you do?
okay. Okay, firstly, when I come into this situation, I'll call my colleague out of the room, try to resolve the conflict. I'll listen attentively to what conspired between my colleague and her patient. And I'll try to talk calmly to the patient and the colleague to try and calm them down to resolve this conflict. Then the second thing I will do is to call my colleague out of the room if their conflict is not just resolvable. Then I'll use my effective communication skill, try to communicate with her, tell her the right things to do and how to approach this scenario. Then if she is calm, I can escalate the concerns to my in charge nurse for her to wade in and ensure that all is being kept well, then to record it in an incident form.
All
That's
right.
all.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Can we have someone else give a response?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go on.
Thank you very much for this question. As a courageous nurse, if I discover that my colleague is verbally assaulting a patient, the first thing I will do is to identify this as a safeguarding issue. Then I will step into the situation to separate the abuser from the person that is being abused. Then I will, after I've done that, after I've ensured that my colleague has left the scenario, I will meet with the patient, ask the patient how long this has been going on, what actually caused the issue, and how long it has been going on. Then I'll encourage this patient to write a formal complaint. I will encourage the patient to write a formal complaint. Then I will also make a detailed complaint of witness. I will fill a witness report form. After this, I will now meet with this colleague. I will ask her questions. Probably she's going through some emotional or mental issues that is affecting her interpersonal relationship. I will probe her to understand why she behaves in this manner. Then I will make a witness report to my line manager, which I'm sure will report to the next authority that should be informed. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Do we have one? If does anybody have anything different to say before I speak?
I just want to add to what they've all said.
Okay.
After you've reported to the line manager, I think the best thing to do is to recommend, if the colleague is going through an emotional phase. So the next thing is to recommend necessary support or training that is going to help to prevent further outbursts or further insults going on between them and the patient. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. For everyone has done well. So, you guys have all done well. All of you. So, in such situation, when that kind of thing is happening, first, if the colleague is verbally abusing the patient, and you encounter that, you at least you should need to understand the situation, assess the situation of what's happening. Then you decide, is it something that you are walking away from to call your colleague later, or is it something that you are stepping in to say, oh, please, could I have a word with you at that particular time? Especially if you are, if the patient, you can see physically that the patient's mental health is at stake, because that's a safeguarding issue, like what the second person has mentioned. You step into the situation and then ask, oh, to try to calm the situation, that you try to call your colleague aside. You step into the situation and call your colleague aside. All right. Now, once you've called your colleague aside, you go and speak to the patient to calm the patient down, try to understand what's going on from the patient's point of view. And if it's something that was abusive, you tell the patient the right proceedings if they want to um report and all that, and then you apologize for what have happened. You go and speak to your colleague aside and find out what's going on. If it's something that you then also reprimand, especially in cases whereby you know that she was not supposed to speak like that to the patient. Now try to see, if does she need further training, is it something from home? How can you recommend help to her? Make sure you incident report that, like someone said, a witness incident, because you witnessed it. Make sure you incident report that, you inform your line manager what has happened, or you also support your colleague um by asking, recommending things or recommending trainings for the colleague, for the person to go through to support himself in such situation next time. So you guys have done so well. So I'm going to be asking you guys the next question now. We've left conflict management. We'll be going towards medication error now. So you administer a medication and you find out that you've made a medication error. What will you do?
Okay, before we get somebody to answer this question, please, I always say that You see, she's asking you, what will you do? This is a trust question. It's the trust that is asking you. But sometimes, some hospital they may want to ask you, can you tell us a time where you have made any error in the course of your practice as a nurse? If they are not specific about medication, please, by all means, try to avoid medication error. You understand? There are so many mistakes you can make as a nurse. And please, when you are looking for mistake you made previously as a nurse, always target the mistake you made when you were still a student. You understand? Because you will want to ask, why are people asking you why when you made mistake? Because the reason why they are asking you this question is two things. Number one, to know if you have made a very dangerous mistake that had the potential of repeating. And number two, to know whether you have an understanding of the escalation mechanism for a case of making mistake and how to resolve it. So those are the 2 points. Either way, they are very tricky and they can be a trap. So please, it is safer for you to make mention of mistake that you make when you were a student and mistake that you know that they are not so life-threatening. Let's assume now when you were a student, because of a busy schedule, you did a patient ops who was stable, and you forgot to put it on the system immediately, or you emptied the patient urine, you forgot to imputed it on the input and output chart because you had to attend to another patient who was in an emergency, and this was when you were still a student. So these are errors, but they are much more less likely to cause harm than when you say, I could remember one time I was supposed to administer two 1 gram of paracetamol. And because I was so busy, I ended up administering 4 grams of paracetamol. Your village people is calling you be that. You understand? So you want to make an error that is sensible and an error that was made as a student. Because if you make an error as a student, it's assumed that you don't yet know. So you cannot conclude and say, since I have been practicing as a nurse, I have not really made any obvious error regarding to this. But however, I know the measures to be taken in resolving in case error like this occur. So it's just wisdom which is profitable to direct. So let's hand it over to Miss Stella again. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you make it. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Ace. So we just need two persons to answer this question, so we could quickly cover a lot. So you made a medication error. You observe that you've made a medication error. So what will be your next step in approach?
Thank you, Ma, for that question. If I made a medication error, first of all, I have to inform the patient about it, then reassure the patient. From there, I will report to the charge nurse what really happened. Then I'll continue to monitor the patient vital signs to for any advanced infect. Then also I will report the incident according to organizational policy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Do we have any other person that wants to give an answer? Unmute your mic and speak.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. So firstly, if there's any case of medication error, firstly, I will assess my patient if he or she is having any adverse effects about the medication error. And if so, I will commence any intervention necessary to save my patient's life. Then I will further go to escalate the concern to my line manager or my in charge nurse. From there, I will get the attention of a prescribing doctor to assess the patient and other professionals that are needed at that point. Then I'll write an incident form of what happened. Then I'll call the attention of my patient's direct next of kin or any other family or any other relative and other RN like my in charge nurse. Then I'll explain what happened, the adverse effect, and what was my intervention during the course of this, of the mistake, of the medication error, and what I did after that. Then I'll apologize to the patient and the patient relative. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for that. About the patient next of kin, make sure that you inform the patient. The patient would like you to inform the next of kin, then you inform. If the patient does not want you to inform, then there's no need of inform. But if the patient wants you to inform the next of kin, then you go ahead and inform the next of kin. Okay.
Thank you
At the
very
end of
much.
the day, the patient makes the decision on who finds out what's happened. And also you tell them about if they would like to lay complaints about what has happened, you tell them the procedure on how to go about this. And also make sure that you incident report it. So that's how to handle it. Both of you have answered well. Thank you so much. So I don't need to dwell on that again.
Thank you,
Um,
ma'am.
so this question, there was someone that said he was into mental health kind of thing, adolescent and all that. So there's a question that says, how do you manage adolescents piling drugs in a cupboard? I'm trying to look for that person. Is that not Mr. Appa? I think you were the one that said you were into your interview is about adolescent or something. Is he here or has he slept? Okay. Is anyone having interview about adolescents? Hello.
Yes, I do. Charge and adolescent mental health services.
Okay. Could you answer the question? Let's see how you will approach it.
Good. That's the very first time I'm seeing that question. Thank God.
That is actually an interview question.
Imagine an adolescent piling up drugs.
In the cupboard, yes.
Cupboard. Hmm. Okay, let me use the general knowledge. The very first thing I would do is to create a good rapport with the adolescent, then understand the reason why he's doing that. Then from the therapeutic communication, I'll make sure that he understands the negative effects of drug piling. I give psychotherapy about the effects of drug abuse. Then I try to disabuse his mind from it. I think that's what I can reason out.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any other thing to add?
Yes, good evening.
Good
Okay,
evening.
my role is band 5/6 role.
Okay.
So first of all, I try to start a talk therapy with the adolescent or the teenager. Try to find out why he or she has been hoarding those drugs without taking as prescribed. Then if it's a personal issue that he or she has, probably if the drug is a bitter one, they would like to know if it can be changed to a sweet ones by letting the prescriber to know about it. Then if actually is afraid, is the type that is afraid to take tablets, you also know if liquid ones or suspension can be prescribed for the patient depending on the condition of the patient. Then after this, instead of still keeping those drugs there because they can use it to commit suicide, so you have to pack those drugs away from them, inform your line manager, fill an incident form, then that's the little I know about.
Okay, thank you so much. Both of you have actually answered well. Seriously, I was so amazed when I saw that question, and I'm even racking my head on how to go about the answer. But listening to what both of you have said, that's actually a nice way of going about the answer. I'll just add one or two things. If it's an adolescent, and adolescents obviously are lower than the age of 18 years, so that means they have a guardian, which will be their parents or maybe a caregiver. So you also have to inform them what has happened, and also let the adolescent themselves know the gravity of what they did, and let them, especially if you look at the reason, and you probably the reason is apart from the reason which you gave the last speaker, like which is reason of maybe don't like the taste, that one can be swapped and all that for something that is at least a bit tasteless. They can manage that. But if it's something about they're just holding the drugs and all that, you let them know the reasons and the importance of why those drugs are being given to them. You inform the line manager so that further actions can be taken to keep a close eye on the patient, and also information will be given to other staff that once the adolescent has once you are giving a medication to the person, make sure the person swallows it in your presence, especially if he has accepted to take the medication and all that. So let them know. And also just so that other staffs will be aware that when they are clearing the environment, they are to search for any things like it's not as if you are doing like police search, but at least you are aware that such thing can happen. So you are alert about what happens. You incident report it, inform the doctors and inform your line manager what has happened. So you guys have answered where I just added one or two things to it. Thank you so much about that. I think another question they asked about adolescents is adolescents. No. Okay. Those that are doing mental health, what do you know about safeguarding, and how do you? I'll I'll ask you guys three questions because I want you to answer the whole question at the same time as it's past 11 o'clock. Number one, can you tell me the Mental Health Capacity Act? No, can you tell me the Mental Health Act? Number one. Number two, can you tell me the Mental Capacity Act? Number three, can you tell me how you have implemented these acts in your practice? And number four, can you tell me how you have implemented safeguarding in your practice? I'll go again. Number one, can you tell me about the Mental Health Act? Number two, can you tell me about the Mental Capacity Act? Number three, can you tell me how you have put this into your practice? Number four, can you tell me how you have implemented safeguarding in your practice? Thank you. Go on. Our mental health nurses, if you are here, you can go ahead and speak. Go. So the question I had, do we have mental health nurses here? Let's not look as if I'm giving the question to the wrong person.
Yes, ma.
I fear now. Wait. That's what the question I had.
We are here, ma.
Okay, so please could you answer the question?
Thank you very much for the questions. Mental Health Act is a legislation that governs the assessment, the treatment and detainment, and also the rights of people living with mental health disorders. In the UK, there are many aspects of Mental Health Act that should be considered. The purpose, the criteria of detainment, the type of detain, the rights of the detained individual, and the legal processes involved. So for mental health capacity, this is like a guide to ascertain if an individual is capable of making a decision, or decision should be made on behalf of this individual. For example, people with learning disabilities, or people under the age of consent, or someone who has a mental health disorder. So mental health capacity is used to ascertain, to be sure, to differentiate a person that can make a health decision and someone that a decision will be made for. An example of a time I've implemented a mental health act in my practice was when we had a patient who came into my facility, and on observation and questioning of the people who brought him, we discovered he is at a risk of suicide. Using the risk assessment tool, we discovered he has made suicidal attempts like twice. So this patient is this particular patient is against being detained, being admitted in the facility. So we make use of this mental health act in collaboration with other members of the MDT to detain him after going through the due process of the legal and ascertaining the rights of this person. So lastly, for safeguarding is doing all we can to ensure that we protect the rights of patients and also to prevent them from being abused, from neglect or harm. In safeguarding, a nurse or any member of the healthcare delivery team should be courageous, because as a nurse, you have to stand up for your patients without fear at any point in time, probably in case of domestic abuse, in case of emotional assault or verbal assault. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's like, as you said it now, tell me, how did you feel? How did you feel in preparation of your interview?
I feel like I'm ready.
That is the word. That is the word I want to hear.
How
You
are
feel
you
like you
sure
are ready.
say honey no carry phone dey browse all these things, first hand
No,
information, go.
no, sir. No,
Eh,
no.
okay,
No, at all. I've
okay,
had the past questions, so I saw it in my trust past questions.
You see?
All the questions, so
good,
us
good.
hot past questions.
Why are you not sharing that thing on the group, honey?
No, I saw the past question on the group.
Okay, all right, no problem there.
I saw it on the Telegram
I
group.
hope by the time you finish your own, we'll also see your own question shared on the group. Oh.
Okay, yes.
It's not okay, oh, you will share, oh. Otherwise, now all these things we are putting it to look as if we are not doing work. All right, thank you so much.
Does
Because
somebody
you,
have any tiny thing you want to add? Just small, because she has actually done a lot. Okay. It seems all the mental health nurses here agreed with what she have said. So that's good. That's a very good one. I'm impressed. Okay, so clinical question. Describe a time. No, let me not ask that question. So a patient is on blood transfusion and is complaining to you that they feel funny about it. What will you do? This one is simple question. Someone should just be throwing the answer. Let's enter the next one. If let's say you don't want us to cover at least 10 more questions, if time goes, once it's 10, 11:30 like this, we'll just end the space. Okay, so someone should throw me the answer. Sharp, just throw it to me. Unmute your mic and speak. If you did not throw me this answer now, we'll go to the next question. Mrs. Ijoma, you're raising hand. You can unmute yourself and speak. Oh. Okay, people don't want to answer that one. I've left that question. Go
No, I
and
want to
browse.
answer the question.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, you stop the blood transfusion immediately, then assess the patient vitals. Before then, the doctor will have given order for transfusion reaction order. So you carry those things out, allow the doctor to come and also check the patient. Then after that, make sure the patient is comfortable. Then if the patient is comfortable and the doctor also asks that you should commence the blood again, and the patient continues that way, you stop it permanently, inform your line manager, then return the blood to the lab or the blood bank for grouping and cross matching again to know where actually the problem is for. Then make your patient comfortable.
Okay, right. That's good. Well done. So first action is to stop the blood. Okay. And then also make sure that you assess the patient, ensure the patient is safe. Inform the doctor so they can also come and access the patient. Inform the lab, report, send the blood back, do an incident form, inform your ward manager too about what has happened. So you've covered it. So well done. So you have a patient with a temperature of 37, 39. Then you have the patient heart rate to be 80/30. Okay. You have the respiration rate to be 28. You have the oxygen level to be 88 as well too. No, respiration rate should be 28. Sorry, oxygen should be 88. Urine is cloudy and has a stench smell. What is your diagnosis, or what do you think is the diagnosis, and what's the management? This is the easiest question. Everybody should know this answer. Do we know the answer? I'll just count 1 to 5. If nobody responds, I'll go to the next question. 1, 2.
Please, ma, what is the question? Network logged me out.
Okay, let me go again. You have a patient. His temperature is 39. Okay, 39 degrees Celsius. The heart rate is 130. Okay, the blood pressure is 80/30. Okay, the oxygen level is 88%. Respiratory rate is 28%. Okay, and you have the urine to be cloudy and has a stench smell. What would you suspect, and what is your management as a nurse? Nurses, so hey,
let me give guy a clue because of
hey,
time.
hey, nurses, so just okay, Mr. Go on.
So let me give you a clue because of time. Now, if you look at what she's saying, look at if somebody is having low blood pressure, is having high pulse rate, you already know that that person is in shock. I believe that we all know that that's a shock condition. Now, she now gave other points. Always look at the vital signs given to you because sometimes they'll give you vital signs as a guide to answer questions. Now, she now gave you other clue. What are other clues? She now said the patient is at running temperature. And this patient is not just running temperature, but is having a smelling urine. Now, when you have a smelly urine, you are running temperature. One of the first indication of infection is high temperature, right? Because this patient is having running temperature and his urine is smelling. And we already conclude that this patient is most likely going to be in shock. I may be wrong, but in this case, you will want to suspect different types of shock that you know there is. There's anaphylactic shock, there's septic shock, there is different types of shock that you must have heard of. You understand? But if this is infection related, based on the fact that urine is smelling, you want to suspect septic shock, right?
Sepsis.
So you see, it's very easy for you to get. You understand? Because it's shock, is having blood pressure don't drop. And pulse rate is very high because the body is trying to compensate for losses. You understand? So you will now say, okay, what could be the cause of this shock? So it's easier for you to go towards the part of septic shock, which is also sepsis now, than to lay towards any other angle. So if you answer questions from like this, you can hardly be wrong. So you answer by analyzing the vitals. You understand? So I am
And
sure
make sure
that
you use buffalo to do your management. It makes it easier. If you are talking about management, the bloods, the urine output, take some bloods, give IV fluids, oxygen, check the lactate, antibiotics, and that's how to manage it. So that's how to manage sepsis or septic shock. So yeah. Okay. So let's ask you questions about falls. You enter a room and you see a patient is on the floor. As a nurse, what will you do? Okay, you know what we'll do? I'll just mention some questions because of time. Time is already fast spent. I'll mention some few things that you guys can check out, and then I will leave the floor for you guys to ask me any questions that you have in your mind that is troubling you that you would like us to give an answer to. So, number one, you check out falls, how to manage falls. Number two, check out how to manage pressure ulcers. Okay. Number three, check for those that are into mental health, check out, learn the how to assess your patients and also risk assessment too. Learn that, okay. Learn suicidal management as well. And for those that are into general nursing or community health nursing, you should try to check they ask questions about stroke. What you need to know, what are the roles of a community health nurse? You need to know what are the challenges that people that have stroke, how do you manage them? You need to know community health nurses, yeah.
You don't attend. Go to bed.
So you need to know how to manage those patients that what are the risk factors for having stroke. So this is a community based question. Then you also need to know how to emotionally handle how you will handle an emotionally taxing patient. Then because you're also in the community, you need to know how to manage all these patients that are having like high blood sugar, low blood sugar. What will you do? As because you are going to their home now and you get to their home, you observe that they have low blood sugar, you observe that they have high blood sugar. What will be your management at that particular time? So that's it's about that one. Then for general nurses, you need to know questions like yeah, you need to also know describing questions. Like they'll tell you, tell me about a time when you went far and beyond for a patient. They could ask you if you're a patient in a ward, how would you like to be treated? They could ask you like what do you in your own understanding, what does care entails to you? Now, remember, if you are applying for a role of maybe an endoscopy nurse, an accident and emergency nurse, a surgical nurse, they want to know that you have an understanding of the role you are applying for. So they could ask you questions like, what are the skills or a role of an endoscopy nurse? What skills are you bringing to an endoscopy unit? Okay. So apart from knowing generalized question, make sure you know questions related to that specific role you are applying for. If it's mental health nurse, community health nurse, surgical nurse, know specific things about those particular roles. Like what is the role of a surgical nurse? What skill do you think a surgical nurse should have? I once had an interview and I got it. I remember when I had an interview, they asked the question like, what do you think is the role of the particular person, the role I applied for? Okay. And then when they ask you the question, then what do you think is the skill they must have and the qualities they will have at all time on a daily basis? Your ability to give answers, especially like A&E nurses now, you give answers like your ability to have critical thinking, your ability to prioritize, your ability to triage. All those words are related to A&E. Okay, so make sure you know questions and answers related to that. All right. Then they could ask you, why do you have interest in healthcare? Can you tell me about your trust? Can you tell me about how you values of their trust and how you have demonstrated this in your own practice? So they can ask you what is the importance of communication in healthcare environment. They can ask you how do you understand what do you understand by equality and diversity? Okay, so these are questions that they will ask you. And like I said initially, when I started this, remember your questions will resonate around number one, your personal experience, to resonate around your work experience, into your conflict resolution, escalation, risk management, medication errors and management, policies and principles, what the role you are applying for is all about. You need to know things about that particular role you are applying for. So you need to go and study your job description and your job specification. You need to study it like a Bible and have an answer for each of these questions ready on your hand. Okay? Tell me about your strengths. Tell me about your weakness. By now, if your interview is on Monday, you need to have an idea. If they ask me questions about this, what is the particular answer? What example will I give? Because when they ask you, can you tell me about your strengths and how you've or your weakness and how you have overcome it? You remember you must always use the STAR technique when they ask you to tell me when you have done this. Can you tell me how you have demonstrated this? Always use the STAR technique. Describe the situation. Describe the tasks that you were supposed to carry out. Describe the action that you took and talk about the results. So make sure you always do that in your interview, and we wish you all success. And like Mr. A said, most of this question we are asking you is from what people have shown to us, or people have informed us that these are the questions they're asking. So please, when you go for your interview, we'll really appreciate it if you come back and give us a feedback and give us the questions that you're being asked. And I pray and pray that you guys are successful. But even don't want to think even if you're not successful. But the truth is some people may be successful, some people may not be successful. If you're not successful, make sure you always ask for a feedback and bring your questions, because then we can help you analyze the question and make you better prepared for your next interview. Okay. Now I'll be leaving the floor to anybody that have a question. Maybe there's a particular question that you are worried that they might ask you in your interview and you might not know how to approach it. You can ask the question now before we end the session. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The question I have is band 5 to band 6 developmental role. What does it entail? Like for people in the UK already, the two interview offers I got for band 5 to 6 developmental role. Is it a training post where you are being groomed to become? That's just first question. The second question is if anybody has any interview question on eating disorders, because that's the next interview I will have.
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly. Do you mind speaking out? I think your network is having some issues. I heard the band 5 to band 6 developmental role, but I didn't get the last question.
Okay, last question is if there's any question on eating disorders.
Eating. Okay.
Mental health, child and adolescent mental health, eating disorder. That's the next interview I have. I've not seen any question on that. It's still band 5 to 6 developmental role.
So at the moment, are you in the UK?
No. In Nigeria.
In Nigeria. But the post is for a band 5 to band 6. What does the job role tell you? Because normally they will explain to you what they mean by that that particular role. If is it that they want the role is open for both a band 5 and also open, because at times a job role might have two positions. There might be vacancy for a band 5, there might be vacancy for a band 6 as well. So what did it tell you?
And said the band 5, you'll be started on band 5 for a year, and after that you have an assessment test to be promoted to band 6.
Okay. So exactly just okay.
It's on track. I checked again on track. It's on the advert. It wrote, on the interview, they wrote band 6 there.
What's the pay scale?
Still the 28,407.
Okay, that's fine. So what they are saying in that particular job is that when you come into the role, they'll bring you in at a band 5, okay? But the aim is that the role is actually a band 6 role. But they do not just put you on a band 6 immediately. They want you to have undergone the training, because the role is a role that they want to train you on. You understand? It's a role that they want to train the person on before they can become a band 6. Now, once the person has come in on a band 5, the person will undergo the training and they will have an assessment. And after a year or so, depending on how the person does, the person will be moved up to the band of the band 6. And that is why it's called a band 5 to band 6 developmental role. It's a development position. You'll be trained onto that particular role. Is that clear? That's what the role is all about. Because they do it at times. There are some positions that they do like that. They don't just give you the particular that post at that time. You have to start from a lower band because they want to see that yes, they have the right person during the period of the training. Yeah. Okay. So now the next question about eating disorder. I don't think, unfortunately, we've not really had like we said, the interview questions we have are interview questions from people that have done interviews, and unfortunately, we've not really got so much from people from eating disorder. So maybe you'll be the first person to give us that question now, which we'll be waiting for. I will appreciate it when you give it to us. But on another note, I think there are so many stuffs around eating disorder or questions like that online. So I think looking at them will also help. Also, I think there are some related questions they might ask you in terms of eating disorder. Looking at the generalized question they ask and looking at UK as a whole, eating disorder probably will have to be related to people that there are different causes for eating disorder. It could be hormonal, which should know that by now. It could be like psychological, like the person is like trying to meet up with the standard of the society.
Yes. I understand.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, meet up with the of the society, and that's why. So eating disorder, understanding what eating disorder is, understanding the cause and probably the possible reasons why it happens, understanding the management of people in different areas, um, makes you prepared for that kind of question, and also understanding as a nurse, the truth is at the end of the day, most of your nursing care is still around the C's of nursing and the 4 P's of nursing at the end of the day, regardless of the position. So your ability to integrate that into the particular role that they're asking, that's eating disorder role. You've already at least gotten like 50%. Now your ability to understand how to approach someone that have such situation at least has given you additional percent. Then your ability to understand the particular causation factor that contributes to that and understand the treatment measure, and also is there need of recommendation, understanding how you can reflect recommendation to different and professional bodies is also very, very important. So I believe you having this understanding of what it entails, you're already prepared for that interview.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Do anybody have any other question?
Okay, please,
Yes,
my
ma'am.
question. I want to know if anybody has a sample of questions for a respiratory unit nurse. I'm guessing it should be more of infection control related or something. So any suggestions will be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. So in order to understand or envision the kind of questions that you'll be asked. So let me tell you guys the secret of understanding some type of questions or preparing yourself ahead of questions that might be specific to your role. How you will know is when we are saying job description and person specification, some people will be like, again. Yes, and I'm still going to say it again. So if you look at what those job descriptions are, there are some things that they put there that they say this is what the person does on that particular job role in specific to that your respiratory units. Now, also the person specification, there are some things that they put in that essential that they want the person should have. And so they will ask you questions in related to it. If they say they want you to have experience in the respiratory units, your experience in the respiratory unit is desirable and you have it, what you need to do is to go and check, okay, what do they mean by the job description of somebody that has experience in the respiratory unit? You look at that their job description and check out the particular things that they'll probably request for. Okay, now someone that is in a respiratory unit, you know that they have issues with the respiratory system. That's fine. Okay, you know that there are different respiratory issues. It could be sleep apnea, it could be COPD. There are different management of respiration. Now in the UK, most of the time, they start by if you want to administer oxygen to patients, you administer like starting from things like I'm using oxygen now, for example, you start with your nasal specs before you go further to using non-rebreather, the big face masks with higher requirement of oxygen, before you go further to using a CPAP, before you go further to using a BiPAP, before you go further to using intubation. So these are the management. So do you have an understanding of what those are as someone that is new? And even if you don't have an understanding of intubation or BiPAP or CPAP, you need to understand at least what do you think a CPAP is? What do you think a BiPAP is? Check, is it what they put in the job description there? Because these are how respiratory patients are managed. Now, there are some medications that people they give during respiratory period, like prednisolone, anti-inflammatory medications, corticosteroids. They give it to all those patients that are having all these kind of issues. And some of these patients that are having, because of it, you have to monitor their blood sugar. If they are diabetic, you need to check them out and see, okay, and because of the medication they are giving them, is there a risk factor associated with it? How do you manage this patient? Basically, nursing is all about how do you care for a patient that is having this condition? How do you communicate with a patient that is having this condition? How do you offer compassionate care? How do you offer competence? Do you understand? And so you understanding what that particular job description is. Why I'm going like this, because I don't think, let me check. I don't think we have a specific question for respiratory units at this particular time, but I work in ICU, and so I have idea of respiratory kind of questions, okay, of respiratory things that happens right here in the UK. I'm trying to check if we have any question bank in regards to respiration. Let me see. I doubt. I don't think so.
No, one thing you can actually do is to take advantage of the key messages on Telegram.
Yeah.
Go to, you will see if there are people that have sent before, you will do it. You will be able to get yourself guided. So I think that would be a better one. Time is fast spent now. I know that there are some persons that still have questions, but I'm a bit scared. Look at time. I believe by back home now it has really gone fast. So it's also necessary you go and have some time to rest. One thing we can also recommend is prior to your interview date, all of you are not going to have interview the same time. You must not wait for us to be the one preparing you before you prepare yourself. So if you know you are going to be available for interview preparation, you can always reach out on that group, and you can do a WhatsApp call. And not everybody that is available can just prepare each other. Those who have written can guide those who are yet to write, and those who are yet to write can guide each other. It's more like let's support each other until we are able to achieve the ultimate goal, which is to pass the exam. So I think that would be it for tonight. Miss Stella, do you still want to say something?
Um, yeah, I just want to, the person that asked for respiration, there's just one question that says a COPD patient is on oxygen. You notice a saturation of 81% and the respiratory rate of 31. What will be your intervention? And this is a respiratory unit. So, and I looked at the other questions they asked the person. They were not really so much respiratory related specific questions, and it's a respiratory ward as well. So it means that they might ask you, because it's a band 5 role, they will ask you other related questions of a nurse. Then they might just ask you one or two regards to respiration, and it's not a do or die affair. So they might just like ask you simplified respiratory unit questions, because at the end of the day, when you get to the hospital, they will still train you before you are able to carry out any actions. Okay, so Mr. Ace has already said it all. I don't really have any other thing to say, so I will leave him to round it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I know some of you may have still have some questions that you would have loved to ask. I must confess that you also agree with us that reasonably we have really done justice to some extent. It's the first time that Mrs. Stella and I are anchoring interview session with the team. We usually do it separately, and sometimes other members of the team may just be the one to anchor. But tonight we just decided to anchor it together. I hope it was beneficial. I hope the sacrifice was worth it. It will be much more worth it when you go there and you are confident ahead of your interview. You do your best, give your all. You know that this is one opportunity you have to impress, and you take full advantage of it. We are rooting for you to succeed. We are rooting for you to be the next person to share your testimony. Meanwhile, please, irrespective of the outcome of your interview, be thinking of the next generation, not just yourself alone. Trust me, after 10 days, when you finish your interview, you are going to forget 90% of the questions they ask you. But if you send the questions across and it's stored on Telegram, that means when your junior colleague tomorrow is aiming to write same exam with the same trust, you can just refer him and say, there was a group I posted my question that time. Once you go to that group, start touching the pin messages. You will see the question that I once had, and that person will benefit as a result of your effort. And when he's going through that question, and if that question eventually helped that your junior colleague, he will be saying in his mind, may God bless this person that shared that past question. And you don't never can tell the essence at which prayer of somebody can go in somebody's life. Because I'm a believer of prayer a lot. So if that is the case, you will have given yourself a blessing in disguise. So please, let's make it a sacrifice. Let us not be the one appealing to you again. We'll come and be begging you. Hey, you did the interview. Please drop your past question. This will help others. You should by now have an understanding that it will help your own colleague. Before we call it a day, let me just give one or two persons. How do you see the session? Was it beneficial? Do you like it? Do you feel we can improve on something? Um, let few person can just speak, and then we end the session.
Thank you so much for the session. Thank you for your time, Mr. Ease and Mrs. Stella. I really appreciate the session from beginning till now. You guys have stayed up to this time to put us through so many things. It's highly appreciated, and it was of immense benefit to me, even though I didn't really participate because my own interview is still far. But then I listened attentively, and like Mr. Ye's advised, I was jotting so many things down. At some point, my hand was starting to pain me, and the contributions of others too, very, very wise and very thoughtful contributions. Some things that I did not even think to include in my answers, they came through and they were really, really very open, and everybody was sharing their ideas, which I'm very grateful for. And the fact that it's even a free meeting, we didn't have to pay a dime for this opportunity to be educated. I'm very grateful for that as well. Thank you for your time once again. Thank you for your efforts. I pray the Lord will reward you abundantly in Jesus' mighty name. And we'll see each other in the UK by God's grace.
Yes, oh, amen. Congratulations in advance. Thank you so much for your detailed and deep thought expression. That means a whole lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I think instead of allowing more persons to speak, what I will do, I will try and send the Telegram link on the group, just in case for those of you that may not have access to the Telegram group. Please take your time and be touching those pin messages. Don't focus on your trust alone. You may get to know how some other trusts ask questions, and who knows, that question may be the question type that you may see on your day. But focus on your own trust question. If you don't have your own trust question, experiment with other trusts to know how their question can be like. So that will also help to broaden your knowledge and your understanding. All right, once again, I sincerely appreciate everybody that took out time to participate on the session tonight. I have dropped a sample on how to send your past question by the time you eventually finish. It basically entails the name of the trust, the date you had the interview, the number of interviewers that you experienced, and some of the questions you can remember. We know you cannot remember all the questions, so don't worry about that. Even if it's just 2 or 3 you can remember, that 2 or that 3 can change somebody's life tomorrow. So please don't deny them. We are staying awake now for almost 2-3 hours. If this was a working time, you know how much you will be paid for per hour. The sacrifice we are making for you guys to succeed. You too can make your own sacrifice for others to succeed as well. Thank you so much for your time. My name remains once again Otagbe His. I'm humbled and happy to be a part of your journey. Join us on Telegram group. We can always communicate. As for your all-skill preparation, if we are able to start our session before your journey, we'll be more than happy to support you. Otherwise, you can always reach us for any support whatsoever. I work with the OSCE team, so it's quite easy for me to give you an insight with regards to OSCE and everything. Thank you once again, and may God bless you all. Have a great and lovely night.